News Midday, presented by Salango Law, with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and Metro News' Dave Allen.
Welcome into the 2 o'clock hour, final hour, Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. After 2:30, it's Open Line West Virginia. Nothing but your calls and text at 1-800-765-TALK or text 304-TALK-304. It's Metro News Midday.
Metro News Midday is presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com. Join in by calling 800-765-8255 or text 304-TALK-304. Let's go live to downtown Charleston. Here's Dave Allen.
Welcome into the 2 o'clock hour, Metro News Midday. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. Metro News Midday heard all over the great state of West Virginia. Great radio stations like our flagship here in Charleston, WCHS, WJLS in Beckley, WD&E in Elkins, WKMZ Clarksburg, WVW Logan, WKLP in Kaiser, WAJR Morgantown, WEPM in Martinsburg, WKKX and WVLY in Wheeling, and WSLW in White Sulphur Springs. Open Line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour, 1-800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. Or you can text 304-TALK-304. Welcome to the show now. Our good friend, Republican strategist, it is Greg Thomas. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well. How are you today?
Getting through this winter, okay?
It was cold there for a little bit. I don't know if you caught that.
I'm aware.
It got cool for a little bit, and the way my house is set up, like the sun doesn't really get right in front of my driveway and right in front of the front door. And so like everything else was melted except for like a pile of like frozen, like just slushy water in front of the yard. And then my driveway was still like just a sheet of ice.
Mm-hmm. That's why you get kids, Greg. Get out there.
my son's 10. He did a good job of shoveling to my car because, my wife parks inside, of course. I don't because she has other stuff on the other side to where I can't park there. And so like we did a good job of shoveling up to my car so we could get in there, but in front of like where she drives into the garage, it's slick. It is still slick.
You know, I saw there's a friend of mine. I have a couple friends that are realtors, and they said this has nothing to do with anything, but just the amount of people that have so much stuff in their garage that they can't park their cars in it. That happens a lot where I live. We don't have that issue, but a lot of people do.
Yeah, we do. We keep half of it clean, and then the other half, and it's like you clean it, but then there's just like more. It's like kids stuff too, though, right? There's like a volleyball thing and like a four-wheeler, and you know what I mean. There's just like stuff that we need to do something with.
Yeah.
So. Maybe we'll do it in the spring. Maybe
a
little something to do.
There you go. Well, you have been very busy, out on getting people to run for office and so on and so forth. I want to talk about that a little bit, but I want to talk about the Democratic Party for just a moment. I think I almost made Jeff Jenkins and Amanda Barron lose their headphones when I said Greg Thomas is going to come in here to have some positive things to say about the Democrats. but you and I talked. They've done a commendable job of getting candidates.
We did this. This was something that we did as Republicans back in 2002, 2004, 2006. It's hard, when you were in the vast, when the other party's in the supermajority and, you don't have, it's tough to go out and do that because most of the people you're talking to have no chance of winning at all, right? So you've got to be like, hey, I don't have very much money to help you. More than likely you're not going to win, but this is the right thing to do, and I need you to do this. And so it's a hard sell. So I think when I think about what they did this year and getting so many candidates to run all over the state, I just have an appreciation for how difficult that is because I've done it before. And so, I think they're in a position to win a couple seats in the Senate. I think they're in a position to win a few seats in the House. A lot of it will depend on, do the Republicans nominate a rational person or do they go with a whack job? And the whack jobs are going to end up getting beat, right? And that's what the Democrats should do, right?
What makes I don't need a name, but what makes a whack job in your definition?
We have a lot of Republicans now that aren't really conservative Republicans, right? They're mainly old school. I call them the racist, homophobic Democrats of yesteryear that sort of didn't have a place in the Democratic Party anymore. They became Republicans. They liked part of the, they liked the sort of the cult of personality of Trump, but they don't actually like support his agenda. You know what I mean? They just like being for Trump because it's like this counterculture thing to be for Trump. And so a bunch of those people have joined the Republican Party over the last 5-6 years, and some of them have gotten elected. And we have gone and found, at least in the state Senate side, and I know on the House side that several as well, but there's definitely state legislative candidates. There'll be rational options for voters that care about things like jobs and roads and schools. Because we've probably passed more, anti-trans bills than we have trans people in West Virginia. And I think that, they just do that stuff to get like Facebook likes, and you see a lot of the bills that they're working on in the session. All of it's just these pandering titles of legislation that does absolutely nothing. And so, I think we just got to get, the Republican Party's got to get back to actually being conservative, small government, lower taxes, control spending, focused on growing the economy so people are in a position to be self-reliant. And, so when to me, it's just all these Democrats that have kind of come over to the Republican Party and they're, hyper fixated on a few social conservative fringe issues. Those are the people that I just think, let's just, and so we'll either beat them in primaries or they'll get beat. If the Democrats put up rational Democrats, they'll beat them in the fall.
I think it is interesting when you see some of the races. I'm going to talk about the Republicans now, Greg. Mm-hmm. Some of the legislative seats that, there are sitting Republicans in good stature. Mm-hmm. You would think, well, that person, that man, that woman's got that job as long as they want it. But all of a sudden, there's somebody within their own party that says, I think I can do a better job.
Look, right now, 60% of the state thinks the state is going in the wrong direction. And that's why you see so many Democrats filing. That's why you see so many Republicans having primaries. There's just a lot of uneasiness. And some of this stems from, you keep hearing about affordability, right? Some of this just has to do with affordability issues. And that's really right. It's like people at home are saying, oh, my gosh, how am I going to afford this electric bill? How am I going to how do I get a better job? How do I make more money? How do my kids find a good job here at home? And up here, they're talking about how do we quit, vaccinating people for measles, right? Like it doesn't connect because mm-hmm. back home you're thinking I have actual issues, and these guys are proposing bills about parking spaces and more protections for pets, and you know what I mean. It's just pandering stuff. And I think a lot of it, they're just trying to mirror the things they see in D.C., which, of course, is incredibly broken, right? So I think when the Republicans took over, and I had as you know, I had a lot to do with the, making the state the Republican legislature, or the legislature Republican back in 2012, 2014. And, for about a decade, we passed the most conservative agenda in the country. We passed all kinds of things to help turn the economy around. We controlled spending with flatline budget after flatline budget, which inevitably gave us the largest tax cut in state history. We made it to where last year in the state there were 0 abortions, right? Like we were the first, one of the first states in the country to ban transgender surgeries on minors. Like we did all the things, right? And instead of like saying, okay, well, we've done this stuff, what's phase 2? How do we take it to the next level to continue cutting taxes, to continue growing the economy? We just got off on this sort of, tangent, especially on the state Senate side. I do think the House has done a better job this year of getting back on track on the economic stuff. Speaker Hanshaw had a press conference yesterday talking about, 9 or 10 bills that they had passed focused on the economy, which I think is definitely a step in the right direction. But, if you look at the handful of bills that are coming out of the Senate yet every day, their priorities are just all wrong for the people of West Virginia.
When you see, I'm going to say this as an outsider looking in, well, I'm a taxpayer. I guess I'm allowed to have an opinion. I see a lot of the things that come out of the legislative session, and I question, and I say to myself, is this an issue? And what I hear a lot from people will say, well, we want to make sure it's not an issue. That's what I hear a lot. And I think what happens is they get so wrapped up in these things, and that they see in, fill in name here, some large city.
Yeah.
And they say, well, we got to make sure that doesn't happen in Wyoming County. And I'm using that just as an example.
I agree with you, Dave. I think it's stuff they see on Facebook. It's stuff they hear on Fox News. And all of a sudden, they want to do it. And we have our own problems here. Right? I mean, this would be like West Virginia still has the lowest workforce participation rate in the country. Fewer people work here than anywhere else. We have the we don't make very much money. We have a ton of stuff to do. The school system's in bad shape. Desperately need to invest in infrastructure in a lot of areas. We have a lot of things to do. And then when you hear them talking, when you hear them just pandering every day for votes. And that's why, you mentioned earlier, sort of like I've been busy recruiting candidates. And there was just a lot of interest from people around the state, especially after the last session, this session hasn't been as terrible. I don't think they've gotten a ton done, especially on the Senate side, but it hasn't been like attacks on civility and just normalcy the way it was last session. But there's just a ton of people around the state that were kind of raising their hands saying, hey, what can I do to help? Right. And so we started going around the state and said, hey, how can we go find people that have experience creating jobs, that have experience in the legal field, that are doctors or people in healthcare that can come into the legislature and sort of provide advice on this sort of board of directors, if you will, of the state Senate to get things back on track. And that's what we did, and I think we've got a lot of really, really good candidates running all over the state.
TJ in his commentary, TJ Meadows, co-host of Talkline, in his commentary, talked about that there just didn't seem to be a lot of people that had ever had to make a payroll in the legislature and didn't really know what that was like.
I think it's a huge problem, right? And I think that's why we went out to find people. I mean, if your number one issue is jobs, which it is, jobs and affordability are the biggest issues in the state right now. And if those are your issues, you want to look at somebody that says, has this person run an organization? Have they created jobs? If you look at who we're running for state senate against some of the incumbents that we're challenging, the number one profession of people that we've recruited is business owner, right? And we have really good guys. I mean, Joe Eddy up in the first district out of Wheeling, was the CEO of Eagle Manufacturing. He had like 400 employees. Delegate Bob Fehrenbacher's running out of Parkersburg. He oversaw the DuPont plant up there and managed thousands of people. You've got Jeff DeCibio runs the Greater Bluefield Area Chamber of Commerce. And then you've got a few different Ken Reed owns a chain of pharmacies out in the Eastern Panhandle. Mike Girouge here in Charleston, of course, is a restaurant owner that has 40 employees. And then you've got some people that are, we got a couple lawyers too. Bob Dobkin out of Marshall County, who's got a background in natural gas and banking and automotive stuff. And then you got some doctors, right? You got Dr. Steve Eschenauer, who I know has been on your show, local guy in Charleston, also has a small business. Dr. Mike Annalini down in Beckley, a physician who also has a small business as well. And so, you've got some real superstar candidates. And not to name names on the other side, but honestly, probably about a half of the people we're running against aren't really gainfully employed. A lot of them are just straight up, they essentially run for office because they need the $23,000 in the healthcare. And so if you're a voter, right, and you're looking at it and you're saying, hey, who do I vote for in Wheeling? Do I vote for Joe Eddy, the guy that had 400 employees, or I had to vote for Laura Chapman, who, was a lawyer that worked for, the lawyer that she worked for got indicted on like a bunch of criminal things and is probably going to jail. You know what I mean? Like, you have to look at these candidates and say, what have they done with themselves? What have they done with their lives? And do I think they're going to be able to go to Charleston and focus on the issues that matter to me?
Talking to Greg Thomas. We're going to take a break. Stick around with me if you can, sir.
Yeah,
and we'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Poca Valley has proudly served the citizens of Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties for over a century. As your trusted community bank, we're committed to building relationships and meeting your financial needs. And with the Poca Valley Visa card, you can enjoy competitive interest rates, no annual fees, and a rewarding points program, all from a bank you know and trust. Visit your local Poca Valley office to apply or call us. Poca Valley, where relationships matter. Member FDIC.
Trojan Landing Marine is now Charleston's newest power sports dealership.
We now feature a full line of sleek Suzuki street bikes and four-wheelers. We're now offering the innovative riding experience of Benda motorcycles. The next step in motorcycle evolution with all-electric Zero high-performance bikes. We've now got Segway vehicles starting as low as $10,000. Come in and check out our great selection of high-quality Benelli and Royal Enfield bikes. Visit Trojan Landing in Charleston, now your water, road, and dirt dealership.
The conversation starts long before the game.
He doesn't do this to other guests, but every time I'm on here, he creates distractions.
Disrespectful.
With his phone. I mean,
I have to have the phone on in case Pete Thamel breaks another story.
Join Tony Carini, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television, available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at wvmetronews.com.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is now Wealth Enhancement, and we craft detailed financial plans for people like you because you're building your retirement your way. You deserve advice that's built to handle what your life brings. To meet with your Stike team advisor, call us at 304-443-4240 or email stike-info@wealthenhancement.com.
On the next State of Minds.
My dad always said, don't let any one individual control your destiny, what you do, what your value is. And I wasn't about to let Paterno do that to me. I mean, it was just a phenomenal time, my first game, and to be accepted as a Mountaineer.
New year, new trucks. Start your year off with a new truck from Dan Cava Toyota World. Now lease a 2025 Tacoma for as low as $299 a month. Save over $7,500 off on select Tundras or get 2.99% for 72 months. It's your last chance to get a gas model 2025 RAV4. Don't miss out. Come experience cars you can count on year after year. Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
I've had a complicated relationship with food. My job was to talk to heart failure patients about diet and exercise. I felt like, why would you listen to me? Because I was not following a diet that was healthy for me. I needed help. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 175 pounds. I feel like I'm free. They hold the skill, they hold the tools, and they're waiting for you to come say that you need the help.
Poca Valley has proudly served the citizens of Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties for over a century. As your trusted community bank, we're committed to building relationships and meeting your financial needs. And with the Poca Valley Visa card, you can enjoy competitive interest rates, no annual fees, and a rewarding points program, all from a bank you know and trust. Visit your local Poca Valley office to apply or call us. Poca Valley, where relationships matter. Member FDIC.
Trojan Landing Marine is now Charleston's newest power sports dealership.
We now feature a full line of sleek Suzuki street bikes and four-wheelers. We're now offering the innovative riding experience of Benda motorcycles. The next step in motorcycle evolution with all-electric Zero high-performance bikes. We've now got Segway vehicles starting as low as $10,000. Come in and check out our great selection of high-quality Benelli and Royal Enfield bikes. Visit Trojan Landing in Charleston, now your water, road, and dirt dealership.
Start your new year off right with a new ride from Dan Cava GMC. Come explore our 2026 GMC Acadias. Spacious, smooth, and made for everyday life. It's truly a fan favorite. Drive into winter with a new 2026 GMC Sierra, now up to $12,000 off, or lease as low as $499 a month. So upgrade your ride this year with us at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
It's high school basketball season, and Metro News Television has you covered. Rivalries, buzzer beaters, classic hardwood competition. Watch live and on demand from gyms across the Mountain State. Stream Metro News Television on your iPhone, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select smart TVs. Or visit MetroNewsTV.com for more information. High school basketball lives here on Metro News Television.
You know, Morrissey, and look, I'm for, I do issue advocacy as a profession, right? So, like, I'm for doing a press conference in Bridgeport, going out around the state and drumming up support for it. I'm for that, but I think it's got to be coupled with working the halls of the legislature and developing those relationships to explain why that needs to be done.
It seems to me, again, and you're on the inside, I'm not, but it seems to me that the relationship between the governor and a lot of legislators is just simply not good.
It isn't very good. Look, Morrissey's a political, I know he was born in D.C. or born in New Jersey, but I mean, he's really a D.C. guy, right? I mean, he worked on Capitol Hill. He was a lobbyist in D.C. He's sort of this D.C. political kind of creature, and that's the stuff that he likes to do, right? That's what he knows how to do. That's what he likes to do. And a lot of our guys, especially some of our Republicans in the legislature, they're just not that political, right? They like the policy side of it. They like going through the budget. They like talking about that stuff. And so, look, Morrissey has some people. I don't, a lot of his people aren't from West Virginia, so I don't know some of them. But, a lot of the people, he's got some good people on his team. I mean, he's got some people that have relationship with the legislature. I think they've got to do, I think he's got to rely on them to do more. I think he's got to do more. But again, him getting involved in some of these Republican primaries early too, that doesn't help.
No,
that doesn't help.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but I don't know that that's the wisest move. But that's just me. I'm an outsider, so
it just depends on do you really? He's going to have to make a decision of, do I really want to get this tax cut, or am I going to continue? Do I care more about what happens in May in the primaries?
Greg Thomas, always a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks a lot. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back after the bottom of the hour break, we'll get to Open Line West Virginia. What is on your mind? You can call me, 1-800-765-TALK, 1-800-765-8255, or text 304-TALK-304. Back after this. And now we'll go to the Metro News anchor desk for a check of local news. You're listening to Midday on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. There's a new member on the State Board of Education. James Paul previously was the executive director of the Public Charter School Board. Governor Patrick Morrissey named Paul to the State Board post today. Morrissey says there are too many 9-0 votes on the state school board now, and too many county school systems being put under state control.
When you have 9 or 10 school districts in the condition they're in, it starts to raise serious questions, doesn't it? What's going on? What's happening with the oversight?
Earlier today at the State Board of Education meeting, State School Board President Paul Hardesty said some of the takeovers have happened because local school board members are afraid to make tough funding decisions.
I'm not trying to cast blame on anyone. This board of unelected bureaucrats, we have to make tough decisions when elected bureaucrats choose not to.
Now, Governor Morrissey has called the State Board of Education unelected bureaucrats in the past. The State Board did vote today to return some local control to the Logan County school system. It seized control there more than 2 years ago. Logan County School Superintendent Sonia White says there's been good improvement.
The mantra we have adopted as a system is our action support, first and foremost, what is best for the students, period. This is achieved through transparency, collaboration, and capacity building, all of which are essential to ensure a stable future for our school system.
State Board also voted today to lift a state of emergency in Pocahontas County schools. You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Brighten your mornings with Tudor's $5 sunrise specials. Enjoy our Mary B, egg, crispy bacon, and cheese on our buttery biscuit, loaded with more bacon than the rest. Or try the Ron, featuring a bigger, hearty sausage patty topped with egg and cheese on a biscuit so delicious you'll savor every bite. Each combo comes with crispy hash browns and your choice of coffee or iced tea, all for just $5. Warm up winter mornings with this hot deal. Available for a limited time.
The last class of the day for my student athletes isn't English, science, or math. It's school sports, where the #1 priority is teaching, just like every other classroom. As their coach, I help them grow as leaders and become better people, preparing them for the game and, more importantly, for life. That's why the best wins are the lessons they learn, which will impact them long after their playing days are over. Encourage your student to participate in school sports.
This message presented by the WVSSAC and the West Virginia Athletic Directors Association.
We're back in the 30s today in West Virginia after yesterday in the 60s. State DOH spokesman Brent Walker says crews will really start doing some pothole patching when the weather gets warmer consistently.
We're mobilizing our larger equipment for this pothole season, if you will, where we have rollers and we've got skid steers, and so our mechanics are taking a look at that equipment, making sure it's in good working order.
Until then, watch out for the potholes. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
It's 2 hours of sports conversation to wrap up your weekend. It's the City Net Sunday Night Sports Line. Hey, this is Travis Jones. Join myself and Greg Hunter every Sunday night from 6:06 until 8 o'clock as we wrap up the sports weekend. We talk Mountaineers, high school, Mountain East Conference, and the latest in the national scene. The Sunday Sports Line is listener interactive. You can call or text the show at 304-TALK-304. It's a perfect weekend sports wrap-up on your favorite Metro News affiliate, or watch the show at WVMetroNews.com.
This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com.
Welcome back to the show where the heat is on Capitol Hill right now. Lawmakers are pressing Attorney General Bondi on the Epstein files, and I've had a chance during some of the breaks to go back and listen to some of this. Man, it's like a Jerry Springer episode. I mean, I don't mean to make light. Okay, I want to make light of it. It's like a Jerry Springer episode. I mean, they're one step ahead, just one step away from like a chair, flying it through there. So, we'll have more on it at the top of the hour news. The state's premier outdoor sports show is back at bigger than ever 24th annual West Virginia Fishing, Hunting, and Outdoor Sports Show, presented by Can-Am. Turns to Island Park in Morgantown, Saturday and Sunday, March 7th and 8th. Over 100,000 square feet of everything outdoors. Over 200 vendors all under one roof. Complete details, WVOutdoorsportsShow.com, WVOutdoorsportsShow.com, a WVRC media event. Open line West Virginia, 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Let's get to your text. Text says, good grief. Love text to start with good grief. The rotunda is going to flood if you don't get TJ and his tears out of there. He's passionate. Is my frequent tag team partner, TJ Meadows. He's passionate. Text says, the forecast is calling for 3 to 6 inches of potholes. Division of Highways trying to keep up. Yeah, it's, and we had their spokesperson, on the show, Brent Walker, yesterday, and they're doing what they can with the pothole situation in West Virginia now that the weather, well, it warmed up a little yesterday. Now it's back down to where it's supposed to be. Problem is, we're in the middle of February, and we got a lot more winter to go. And until you have a few weeks of sustained warm weather, there's not a whole lot you can do. They can throw some stuff out, but there's not a whole lot they can do. And there were situations in the Charleston area this morning, I-64. I know there was one outside on 64, but closer to Huntington, that there were a few tires that were sacrificed this morning. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be that way for a while. Text says, Republicans' motto is create the issue so I can campaign on it. Kind of goes along with what Greg Thomas was saying. Text says, because we don't have enough to be ashamed of in this state, now the governor can't spell the state he was elected from. Well, again, I've talked about this a little bit. This is the misspelling of the Virginia in West Virginia on the podium yesterday. Again, let's just keep in mind, I don't think that this governor or any governor is going to be the one making the sign. Somebody on the staff did it. Somebody didn't catch it, and it got out there. And it has gone national. But it's to blame Governor Morrissey for that. I can't go along with that. The left, says the texter, so quick to call someone a Nazi, yet quicker to act like one, says the texter. Text says, so what is the difficulty with providing E-Verify, or is this another reason stirring the pot? This is what had TJ all fired up about. You can go on the website, wvmetronews.com, and you can read his commentary. We had him on the show talking about it earlier today. The problem with the E-Verify, I think in a lot of people's eyes, and again, Brian Dayton from State Chamber of Commerce was on with Talkline with the boys earlier today from the Capitol, is it's another burden on small business where it is already illegal to hire illegal folks anyway. And I think that is, and it was a really good point, I think, that Brian Dayton from the Chamber made, is that, the majority of businesses in West Virginia are small businesses. Most of them don't have an HR department. An HR department is somebody sitting at their kitchen table late at night trying to do things. That's the HR department. And I think that's kind of the issue here is as Republicans generally speaking want to try to make things easier on businesses. I mean, that's kind of the way it's always been, but sometimes I wonder about that. Text says, amazing to me that in 2026 we're still talking about infrastructure issues. So much for Republican leadership. Text says, seems that over the last 10 days, the U.S. has gained about 10 million amateur detectives. People are all wrapped up in this Nancy Guthrie story, for sure. Text says, way to carry the water for the governor, Dave. The buck has to stop with him. Text says, as a former legislator and listener to the show, do they mean they were a former listener to the show? I don't think so. I want to applaud, says the texter, House Speaker Roger Hanshaw for his comments on Talkline today. The media gets all caught up on the number of bills that are passed and think that quality is more important than quantity. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says this is a reference to the interview we did in the first hour with Katana Curry, the young lady who is part of the foster care system. She's 18, so she can speak now. But we did meaning Amanda, did a very good interview with her during the 12 o'clock hour, because this is a young lady originally from Mingo County who is a product of the foster care system that on a field trip to the Capitol met with some delegates and said, this is what changes need to happen. And then she hooked up with Evan Worrell, the Republican out of the 23rd out of Cabell County, who sponsored this bill, Katana's bill. And we had him on the show too. He was quick to say, this is not my doing. This is Katana's. Katana's the one that came up with this. And as I said earlier, we use that term in the world of politics, stakeholders. We're going to bring all this, or in the world of business, we're going to bring all the stakeholders. And well, through the years, I think it would have been very imperative to have some of the kids in the system some of these meetings. But anyway, Tex says, thank God the truth is coming to light. Katana, we know studies have found that 50 to 70% of identified child sex trafficking victims had prior child welfare involvement. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, yet again, West Virginia laughing stock for not being able to correctly spell our own states. Text says, my goal is to one day have the term whip in my job title. All right. Sometimes I just don't know where people's minds are. Text says, when a child protection agency hides behind confidentiality to avoid outside review, the risk is that a rule meant to protect kids turns into a wall that keeps the public out, weakens accountability, and lets mistakes or even misconduct go unchecked. Text says, on the ICE situation, we wouldn't be where we are now had the Biden administration not opened the borders. Even Obama did a better job of policing the borders than Sleepy Joe did. Obama, former President Barack Obama, actually caught a little grief, a lot of grief from other members of the left. They called him the deporter-in-chief. So I appreciate the text. Text says, Democrats are the problem. What, says a texter, what? Okay, what? Question mark. No snowflake Republicans are complaining about how Bad Bunny hurt their fragile feelings. Republicans are wimps, says the texter. Text says, as a Democrat, it's a relief to hear a decent Republican call some Republicans whack jobs. It's good to know a few Republicans are waking up and recognizing this. I will start using the term whack jobs for senseless and blind Republicans. Up until now, my term for them has been cult like adherence, says the texter. 18 minutes away from 3 o'clock, 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. We'll take a break and come back after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Steig Wealth Enhancement Group is now Wealth Enhancement. We believe retirement starts with a plan. Saving for college starts with a plan. Your legacy starts with a plan. Do you have the right plan? Call our team at 304-443-4240 or email steig-info@wealthenhancement.com.
5, 3, 1.
All the sports West Virginia is talking about.
Nikki Izzo-Brown, coach of the nationally ranked WVU women's soccer team.
I think they're just having a very good understanding of each other.
Join Kyle Wiggs, Brett Howe, and Coach Hunter weeknights for Sportsline on Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
I have had a complicated relationship with food. My job was to talk to heart failure patients about diet and exercise. I felt like, why would you listen to me? Because I was not following a diet that was healthy for me. I needed help. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 175 pounds. I feel like I'm free. They hold the skill, they hold the tools, and they're waiting for you to come say that you need the help.
Start your new year off right with a new ride from Dan Cava GMC. Come explore our 2026 GMC Acadias. Drive into winter with a new 2026 GMC Sierra. Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thora.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Welcome back to the show. 14 minutes away from 3. It's Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. It's Open Line West Virginia. What is on your mind? Mountain State. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. Text says every single Democrat in Charleston has sponsored or co-sponsored bills that aim to kill our hugely successful West Virginia Hope Scholarship. They want to end universal access, geo-lock educational options, and claw back awarded funds from students. But only one bill from the Democrats to form a committee on the funding formula problem. Republicans have several bills aimed to deregulate, adjust funding, and optimize efficiency across the system. Oddly enough, Pepperidge Farm remembers when school choice was a progressive issue to help break generational poverty. My, how times have changed, says the texter. Text says, as a retired teacher, I can tell you the school aid formula needs to be changed. It isn't fair at all. Text says, Dave Allen, have you had any time to investigate the white napkins being replaced at eateries with brown ones? Is it tariffs? I have got our team of investigators led by producer Stephanie Pauly on that as we speak right now. She will come back with a full report. She's just looking at me through the glass, so never mind. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with one of our producers. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. Text says, please keep having Greg Thomas on the air. He's the only one with any sense. Well, I would say, yeah, including me. I enjoy having Greg on the show. I started. All right. Ryan tells me napkins are naturally brown. They become white when bleached, says the texter. All right. See, I told you. Says the texter, says the producer, I should say. I told you that our team is on it. All right. Back to Greg Thomas. I started the local show in Charleston in 2020, and Greg was one of the first guests I had on the show, and he's been on the show several times and brought him on the network show as well. And, of course, was on with Hoppy for years on Talkline as well. The one thing about Greg Thomas is you don't have to ask where he stands on anything. And one thing that I also respect about Greg Thomas is the fact that he is not so ingrained in party politics that he won't call out Republicans. Okay? Some of his ire, a great deal of his ire over the years on this show, on Talkline, has been with other Republicans because there's just, Reagan, they called it Reagan's 11th commandment that thou shalt not speak ill of other Republicans. Well, sometimes you have to speak ill of your own party, Republicans and Democrats, because that's the only way things get done. And I do respect him for that. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. Text says the Bad Bunny performance at the Super Bowl was the most watched halftime performance in history. Sorry, Turning Point freaks. You lost worse than the Patriots did, says the texter. Text says the ice situation has been resolved. My wooden gate now opens freely with no resistance. Well, good for you. I'm convinced that the snow in my backyard is going to be there till August because, like Greg and I were talking about, the certain parts of my yard just don't get hit by the sun, and it's going to be out there for some time. Do you remember colored toilet paper? I miss those. Sometimes I just wonder. I wonder what goes into the mind of our texters. And is happy hour going on somewhere? That's what I wonder. Text says, if you want to come to America from a foreign land, go about it the right way and follow the law, as Senator Patricia Rucker did. She talked about that on the House floor, or Senate's floor, yesterday, I think it was, when she's a native of Venezuela, and she talked about that. Text says, to blame Democrats for anything in the state is a joke. Republicans have been in control for 20 years. Well, conversely, it's actually not been 20 years. It's been less than 20 years. It's been a little over 10. 14 maybe. But you could also turn that around and say, well, the Democrats controlled West Virginia for 83 years. 251 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. I guess my comment about is it happy hour somewhere. Somebody sent me, a emoji of two beer mugs clanking together. So I guess it is. Text says it's pothole season. Beware. Yep. Text says the NFL will keep losing audience if they keep putting garbage on. Just read an article, or just read, I'm sorry, reading hard for me. Just read an article that the Super Bowl was down 13 points this year in the ratings. I have not seen that. I don't know. Weekly, are you familiar with that at all? That it was down 13 points in the ratings? I will say this. I haven't seen the numbers, but I will say this. As far as a appealing matchup, with all due respect to Dale Cooper's Seattle Seahawks and a couple of my friends that are New England Patriots fans, it wasn't the most appealing matchup. The NFL likes when you have the Packers in. They like when you have the Chiefs in. They like when you have the Steelers in. These teams that have national followings. They love it when they have my Dallas Cowboys in, although it's been since 1990, the 95 season since that happened. So it wasn't the most appealing. So that could have been some of it. I don't know. I also read that the Bad Bunny halftime show was the single most watched halftime show of all time. Didn't say it was the best. The article I read said, and the data is still coming in, that it was the most watched halftime show in Super Bowl history. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. Tell your legislators that we can't afford the governor's tax cut, period. I want tax cuts as much as the next person, but we simply can't afford it, says the texter. And that, my friends, will be the final text of the day. It's 2:53. We'll take a break. Wrap it up after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Poca Valley has proudly served the citizens of Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties for over a century. As your trusted community bank, we're committed to building relationships and meeting your financial needs. And with the Poca Valley Visa card, you can enjoy competitive interest rates, no annual fees, and a rewarding points program, all from a bank you know and trust. Visit your local Poca Valley office to apply or call us. Poca Valley, where relationships matter. Member FDIC.
Trojan Landing Marine is now Charleston's newest power sports dealership.
We now feature a full line of sleek Suzuki street bikes and four-wheelers. We're now offering the innovative riding experience of Benda motorcycles. The next step in motorcycle evolution with all-electric Zero high-performance bikes. We've now got Segway vehicles starting as low as $10,000. Come in and check out our great selection of high-quality Benelli and Royal Enfield bikes. Visit Trojan Landing in Charleston, now your water, road, and dirt dealership.
The conversation starts long before the game.
He doesn't do this to other guests, but every time I'm on here, he creates distractions.
Disrespectful.
With his phone. I mean,
I have to have the phone on in case Pete Thamel breaks another story.
Join Tony Carini, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television, available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at wvmetronews.com.
State of art. We do it all. Restoration, cleaning, and
leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia. The High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is now Wealth Enhancement, and we craft detailed financial plans for people like you because you're building your retirement your way. You deserve advice that's built to handle what your life brings. To meet with your Stike team advisor, call us at 304-443-4240 or email stike-info@wealthenhancement.com.
On the next State of Minds.
My dad always said, don't let any one individual control your destiny, what you do, what your value is. And I wasn't about to let Paterno do that to me. I mean, it was just a phenomenal time, my first game, and to be accepted as a Mountaineer.
Welcome back to the show. 3 minutes before the top of the hour, Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Ryan Nichols and Stephanie Pauly, our producers today. Dave Weekley coming up with Hotline on many of these same Metro News stations. We just got sad news out of the world of Hollywood. James Vanderbeek has passed away at the age of 48.
Dawson. Dawson's Creek. Mm.
Yeah, he suffered from cancer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think actors like that who portrayed like high school football stars would live forever, right? Would live forever.
In your mind, they do.
Yeah, they kind of do. That's a sad story.
Yeah, indeed it is. What you got coming up on your little experiment today? No, our show is the experiment. Our show is the experiment. That's what we call it. You know, the Metro News Midday is the experiment.
Well, you know, I saw this and I wanted to do a question of the day about it, where research shows that you don't hit your mental and emotional peak until you're 60 years old.
Oh,
and that really goes against a lot of the way people thought before, where you would reach your mental peak somehow. Your sharpest mind days would be in your 20s, and they're saying that may not be accurate, that you may not reach your mental peak until you're 60 years old.
Well, I know I've not reached my maturity. I know that my wife calls me terminally 14.
Yeah.
So,
well, but do you have any moments now where you forget something or you do something absent-mindedly and then you just initially just go, oh, well, I'm just getting older.
Like when I say the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl next year. Is that what you mean?
Well, that's just a fantasy. But, but you know, you use that as an excuse because, I'm getting older. I forgot my glasses.
Yeah.
Well, that may not be the case. You may not be reaching your mental peak until you're 60 years old.
So I got something to look forward to because I'm 55. So I got
there you go.
I got something to look forward to.
So we're talking about who are the sharpest minds in sports: coaches, players, front office execs. We're talking about that a little bit today.
And I saw your in or out was on Red Baron Pizza, right?
It is on Korean barbecue Red Baron Pizza.
You know, I love a good frozen pizza.
I do too.
I love a good frozen pizza. They're terrible for you, but I really love a good frozen pizza.
I tell you what, I'll go to the mattresses on Tombstone.
Yeah,
I think Tombstone's the brand.
We made a taco frozen pizza the other night. It was actually very good. All right, hotline coming up on many of these same Metro News stations, 306 Weekly, Ryan, Coop, and the crew. I'll be back tomorrow for Metro News Midday. Till then, have fun. I love somebody.